He was born a snake handler, and he'll die a snake handler. You're listening to Game Points with Matthew Ross on TSN 690.
Game Points on TSN 690. I'm your host, Matthew Ross. Jimmy G, Dave Trentadue here as well. We'll get to our NFL, CFL player agent guest in a couple of moments here on the program. Just want to read a couple of texts out here on the show that have been coming in. Our last segment talking about potential Habs trade opportunity with the Oilers. Oilers picking 4, Habs picking 9th. Habs, my silly trade was PK and the 9th overall pick this year to the Oilers for the 4th overall pick this year, where they could take Dubois and get a center in the draft. Also getting Yakupov to be reunited with Galchenyuk from junior, and Darnell Nurse, a defenseman there. And text coming in from Tariq. He says, absolutely love PK, but a fair trade, plus Galchenyuk connection with Yakupov. And from Matt from the West, laughing at Jimmy. 3 or 4 first-rounders. Are you off your rocker? More like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Max Domi, and Arizona's 7th overall. So in our next segment, we'll get back to the NHL draft possibilities. So keep those texts coming in with your thoughts on what we were throwing out there. Going to talk to our guest in just a moment. Just want to say hello to our show sponsor, Royal Ceramic on Pascal Gagnon in St. Leonard. What an unbelievable place. What unbelievable people. Huge, massive sports fans, top to bottom. I went and met them, and it's a family affair. A lot of people in the family are working there. They've been around over 35 years for tiles, cabinets, countertops, just quality stuff, including high-end stuff, but also reasonably priced items as well. And the common theme there, just incredible design. But within 20 seconds of meeting one of the guys there, he told me how he hates Patrick Roy ever since the day he was traded, blaming Roy, not Mario Tremblay. So I love the opinions. I love the fire when you go in there. And it's always nice when a sponsor is actually a huge sports fan, or all of them are indeed sports fans there. But they have a wide range of pricing and tiles. They're for public and for contractors as well. Incredible service, even food sometimes on Saturday if you want to check out their 2-floor showroom. And if you're looking at countertops, they're either quartz, marble, granite. You can choose your own slab. Their in-house designer will help you with everything you're trying to do in your house, including Quebec-made cabinets that you can get from them as well. And they are the exclusive provider of Robert Cavalli tiles in Canada. They also have a variety of sizes of tiles. You want those giant ones that, 2 tiles and it covers the whole, well, maybe not the whole bathroom, but you know what I'm saying. Or you can go regular conventional size as well. And if you're a real fancy pants, you can get the electric floor heating system under the tiles. Yeah, I wish as well. But it can be done, and they can make it happen. Check out royalceramic.com, or you can call them, 514-324-0002. Any question you have, they're happy to answer it. Friendly guys. All right, let's get to another friendly guy. That's a nice segue, although I've never spoken to him on air. So we're just assuming he's friendly. You can follow him on twitter.com/Sasha Ghavami. He is an NFL and CFL player agent. Very busy this weekend. It's Sasha Ghavami. Hey, Sasha, how you doing?
I'm good. You, Matthew?
Very well. Thank you. And for the folks that aren't familiar with you, you're based in Montreal, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Born and raised in Montreal and based there as well.
Very nice. So it's nice to get a Montreal connection. You, of course, also represent Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, going into his second season now with the Kansas City Chiefs. How's his offseason been?
His offseason was actually very busy. It went very well between med school, in the hospital, the different rotations, and training and getting ready for this next season. He's been quite busy, but he just left actually today to get back to Kansas City. So he's ready. He's looking forward to getting back with his teammates and getting to work there with the Chiefs.
I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. This guy's playing in the NFL and going to medical school. Unbelievable. Long weekend, of course, of the draft, which started Thursday night. Now, you didn't have anyone drafted necessarily, but you did have some great news come out of this weekend for young guys that you represent. So tell us who's involved, where they played their college, and where they're going potentially.
Well, the first one I want to talk about is Eli Buka. He's a DB, born and raised in Laval, played at Montmorency CJEP and got recruited by the University of Calgary. Exceptionally great athlete, great person, really, really hard worker. And he actually tore his Achilles back in August in training camp. And we had NFL aspirations for him this year. Obviously, with the injury, it kind of gave us a setback. But, throughout this whole process, the Arizona Cardinals were very, very interested in him since the beginning. And he went for a visit there. And, the draft going how it went, you never know how it plays out. It's a lot of strategies, a lot of things that happen behind closed doors. But the moment the seventh round came about and they didn't have any picks left, they were calling me and they were trying to get this deal done. And we got a deal done within minutes following the draft. So that was good. We were quite excited about that. And the other one is Charles Vaillancourt, who is an offensive lineman from Laval University, who did not get drafted but accepted 2 minicamp invites with the Giants, who the Giants typically invite many Canadian players, but also the Oakland Raiders, who actually flew up all the way from Oakland to Quebec City to work him out in March. So we were quite happy about that, and we're looking forward to those opportunities with these guys.
Sasha Ghavami joining us here on TSN's Game Points with Matthew Ross, Dave Trentadue, Jimmy G here as well, as we talk a little bit about his clients that were factored in this weekend in the NFL. Now, going back to your first guy, Arizona. So does that mean that they had scouts in Canada? Does it mean that they were just receiving tape from you guys? How did that relationship come about?
You know what? Sometimes you just get lucky, and you have to be good and get lucky at the same time. And it happens that Drew Grigson, who's their director of scouting, used to work for the Montreal Alouettes and had some ties up in the CIS. So he scouts the CIS maybe more than other scouts do. And between us sending him his film and him knowing a lot about Ely and liking him on tape, it kind of was a natural fit there. And so we kind of played that card with him. He probably did the most homework more than any other team. A lot of teams obviously closed the door on him just because he was injured and didn't want to look into him all that much. But the Cardinals really, really liked what they saw on tape, and they were willing to give him a shot and even sign him to a contract. I think they see him as a guy who could contribute week one with for them, and hopefully contribute for many years to come.
So when you talk about a guy, when we're talking about Ely Bouka, Bouka is how you spell him, signed by the Arizona Cardinals minutes after the draft was done, and as you mentioned, playing some CIS. Now, did you think there was a shot he would be drafted this weekend, or were you thinking it was going to play out the way it did?
The thing with the NFL is that there are so many positions and there are so many players that compared to like the NHL, you can get players go undrafted and still make clubs and have long careers. So, I would have been surprised had he been drafted, just because I felt that for an NFL team, they could take the risk that he would be available after the draft and draft another guy maybe who would not have been available just because he was more known. And I think that's what the Cardinals did, and they played their cards right. They said to themselves, let's go pick a guy in the 6th round that might not be available after the 7th. But we think that Ely will be available after the 7th round just because of his injury and everything, and we'll be able to pick him up. And that's how it played out. So it kind of played out exactly how I expected it to be, and I'm really happy with the outcome.
Now, take us through the call. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals call, you get a deal done. When did you let the client know? What was his reaction? Talk to us about that, because that's the special moment.
It was special. I mean, the Cardinals called me, and they presented me the offer. We negotiated a little bit. We had already spoken before the draft with Ely, and he had told me that he really wanted to play there, and that when push came to shove, that as long as the offer made sense, that we want to go there. So we got into agreement really quickly. And when I called him and I said, we get this deal, do you accept it officially? And the answer was yes. And I told him, well, congratulations, Jeff, you're officially an Arizona Cardinal. It's just tears, tears of joy, and he couldn't contain himself. And it was a dream come true for him. All this time throughout these years, working so hard, and especially this year with the injury, rehabbing and putting all the time in to be not only a CFL prospect, but to be actually signed to an NFL team. It was a dream come true for him, so it was quite special.
Now, do you expect him to be drafted in the CFL draft coming up soon as well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know where he's going to fall in the draft. It should be interesting. Typically, CFL teams might be hesitant to take him early just because they don't know if he's ever going to be coming back up here. But, when it comes to the later rounds, I expect him to be drafted just the same way Laurent Duvernay-Tardif was drafted by the Stampeders in his draft year in the CFL, even though he was actually drafted in the NFL. So.
And talk to us about Charles Vaillancourt. What are your hopes for these tryouts?
I think Charles, it's just a question. He's got to go there and just show that he can play football with the best of them, and I think he's done that. He went to the East-West Shrine game in Tampa, performed well there. The Raiders had been scouting him for a while, and, they flew up to Quebec City. He performed some good testing up here. He's got some good film. And you know what? I think it's just a question about if he has a good weekend in one or both, actually hopefully both mini camps, he could get contract offers and then take it from there and see where it takes him. But I think that, it's a different path for Charles than it was for Ely, but at the end of the day, all you need is a shot. An NFL contract, there's no guaranteed money or very little for undrafted guys. So it's just about the team, no matter what your situation is.
In terms of the actual draft, just wrapping up with Sasha Ghavami, Montreal-based New York NFL and CFL agent. What was your favorite storyline from this weekend in the draft? I know you were watching it closely.
I had a few that I really liked. Obviously, and I forget the name, but the kid from Germany who got drafted in the 6th round, I thought was pretty cool. Coming from a very, very non-football traditional background in Germany and was able to get drafted by the Vikings in the 6th round was quite remarkable. But you know what? I think my favorite one out of all of them was probably Jalen Smith in the Cowboys in the 2nd round. This was a guy who could have gone in the top 10 had he not gotten hurt. Was probably one of the best players in the draft, if not the best player in the draft, and suffered a really bad injury. And I was very impressed and happy that Dallas Cowboys were able to, even though the injury, even though all the things you hear about NFL scouts trying to always find problems with players and trying to find things that bring their value down, were able to pick up the phone and give him a call in the 2nd round when he's not ready to play. He will not play in 2016, and see him as a guy who could contribute in 2017 and beyond. I thought that was pretty cool.
Was a very cool story. The receiver you're talking about is Moritz Boehringer, a German wide receiver who only learned about NFL football 5 years ago or so, and is the first ever player drafted in the NFL that never played a snap of U.S. college football or North American college football anyway. Sasha Ghavami, you can follow him as well on Twitter, SASHAGH. AVAMI. I got through that. That was good. Sasha, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon again, and congratulations on a good weekend.
Thank you very much for having me, Matthew. Take care.
All right, there you go. It's NFL Draft Talk with Sasha Ghavami.